Okay, section 9.2 is on simplifying radicals. And one of the tools that we use in simplifying radicals is the idea if you have the square root of a times b, and really that could be a composite number. We can break that composite number out and break each number into its own radical. And we can do this for multiplication and we can do it for division. So if you have division under the radical, you can break them into their separate radicals. And it works both ways. You can go from left to right or right to left, however you want to simplify your radical expressions. We have our three rules are, if you're going to simplify a radical expression, you cannot leave a perfect square under the radical. So the square root of 8 is not simplified because the perfect square 4 is in it. So when you simplify the square root of 8, you break it down into 4 times 2, or a perfect square times the part that's left. And the square root of 4 is 2, so that goes out in front of the radical. You're also not allowed to leave a fraction under the radical. So in this case, we start off with the square root of 5/16. So we look at that and we say, is it simplified? Well, no. Why? Because there's a fraction under the radical. So the first thing we do is, using our tool from the line before, the slide before, we can break that into radical 5 in the numerator, radical 16 in the denominator, and thank goodness the square root of 16 is 4, because now we're done. Our answer is radical 5 over 4, and that's okay because there's no perfect square under the radical and there's no fraction under the radical. And the last of our rules is no radicals in the denominator. So it looks like the third rule is like the second rule, except when we simplify the denominator, you have a radical 5 down there. You end up with 4 over radical 5. Well, you can't leave a radical in your answer in the denominator. So in order to simplify that, we're going to multiply by 1. In this case, the form of 1 is radical 5 over radical 5. And the reason that we choose that is that in the denominator, radical 5 times radical 5 is equal to 5. Because radical 5 times radical 5 is equal to the square root of 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So those are the three rules. So those are the three rules and the two tools for simplifying radicals.